let's talk turkey. So I love turkey. My wife and I are, we disagree. We agree on many, many things after being married for 25 years, obviously. We disagree on two things: how often to drink champagne. I think every day, and she likes to reserve it for special occasions.
You would drink champagne every day?
I would drink it every day. I would have a glass of champagne every day.
What's special about that?
Well, every day with my wife's a special occasion, right?
Whatever.
And we disagree on how often to eat turkey. I love turkey. I'd love to eat it more often than Christmas and
meat.
Easter, and
it's great meat.
So I created a holiday in our household, Christmas in July. So on the 25th of July, we celebrate. We deck out the backyard like it's Christmas, and we have a nice turkey. Where am I going with this? Why am I telling you this?
I thought you were going to say Festivus for the rest of us, but that's for another show.
It starts with the airing of the grievances, which I think we get to a little bit later in this episode. But I'm wondering if my turkey is going to come from a lab. We've talked about lab-grown products before, but it seems like turkey from a lab. Like, is this really expanding? It feels like there's some momentum behind this lab-grown product. Talk about it.
There's momentum and cash. Yeah, a lot of non-ag investors are looking at lab-grown whatever, essentially because, I mean, the carbon footprint argument is very strong. There's no blood. You basically extract stem cells from a healthy animal, no pain, and you can actually produce all you want without mortgaging Mother Nature and natural resources. Now, Singapore has approved the commercialization of chicken, and we spoke about that, I believe, in December. We are expecting more. I'm expecting that lab-grown meat will be commercialized legally in the United States by the end of 2022.
Wow, that's
next year. Yeah, wow. And it could likely happen in Canada by 2025.
Wow.
The reason why it may be a little bit slower in Canada, other than the politics, of course, is the fact that there's plenty of land here. There's no rush. I mean, we have farms, and
unlike
farms
Singapore, right? You made that point in Singapore.
Singapore has no land, so their farms are labs, and so I actually get it. And they want 30% of the meat consumed in the country to be produced in the country. Well, how do you do that? Essentially, you have to actually allow labs to grow. But here's the kicker when it comes to prices. Back in 2013, when that one guy ate this lab-grown meat, it was a steak of about 140 grams. The cost to produce that piece of meat was well over 285,000 euros. Okay, to produce that same piece of meat today would cost you about $5 US.
Wow. So
I don't think people have actually realized how things have shifted so much.
No, not at all.
And so when you think about affordability, and we've been talking about food prices a lot, and we're going to be seeing in plant-based, by the way, I suspect by next year, most plant-based products will be cheaper than the actual real animal protein stuff.
Yeah, pricing's been all over the map in the price in the plant-based stuff, right? We've talked about that as well.
I would say this fall, we're expecting many new products to enter the Canadian market. That's going to put some pressure on, products like Beyond Meat and everything else, and prices will drop. Lab-grown stuff will come in a little bit later, but I do expect, people concerned about animal welfare, people concerned about the environment. The case is pretty strong. That's why investors are really parking a lot of money. We actually are expecting, based on a Polaris report that I read recently, we are expecting the lab-grown sector at wholesale to be worth about $400 million US by 2025. So it's kind of exciting. And of course, nobody really knows how it tastes. I certainly don't know, but the texture should be the same. You can do, if you think about how powerful that concept can be, like think about people who are anemic, people who are diabetic. You can basically design your own piece
Mm.
of food for your own personal
Wow.
physiological needs. It's
When
incredible when you think about it.
it is. I mean, when I think about lab grown, I think of that scene in one of my favorite movies, The Matrix, where one of the characters is being turned around to be the traitor, and
That's
he's
right.
eating a steak that he admits he isn't really eating it. It's all in his
The
brain.
steak doesn't exist.
It
Well,
doesn't exist,
it
but I love its
does.
texture. It does now. It's almost 600,000 chickens that have been slaughtered. Of course, they were going to die anyway, but there've been, I don't know. Here's my question: How does a plant like that not able to stop the inflow of the raw material, the chicken? Like, why do they keep coming? And why is the chickens not like, oh, everybody hold on to your chickens? We have some labor disputes. What's going on in that plant that they just have to kill all the chickens instead of just holding on to them? There's no.
Well, I
How
mean,
does that work?
we have supply management in Canada for a reason. You can't really stop the production of eggs, poultry, and milk overnight. If you have a cow, you can't stop it from producing milk. It will continue to produce milk, and that's why we've set up supply management in Canada to allow farmers to rely on a market. So it's the same in poultry. So there is a sequence of production which is very intensive, by the way, in poultry. It's about 9 weeks, 8 9 weeks from seeing chicks to basically producing a product ready for harvest. So as soon as you have one major plant shut down, and there's only two in Quebec, by the way, you're in trouble very quickly. And
Yeah,
farmers
clearly.
just can't really go anywhere else because of the quota system that we have. You can't ship them to Ontario and New Brunswick. And frankly, other
Huh?
places wouldn't have the space to accommodate. So it's a very, very narrowly managed. There are no margins essentially, which is really part of the problem. And
Hmm.
essentially, you don't. If something goes wrong, if a fire, a strike, affecting some of these plants, and that's why I've always believed, doesn't matter if you have supply management or not, the weakest link of our entire supply chain will always remain processing. If you don't have processing, and if processing is not sound, you'll get into trouble very quickly. And that's what's happening at Excel D'Or in Saint Anselme. And that's why they had to gas thousands, hundreds of
Hundreds
thousands
of
of chickens.
thousands.
Yeah.
Six
So
hundred
by
thousand.
by by
That's a lot of
Friday,
that's a lot of Saint Hubert chicken that is not happening. I suspect.
yeah. So food service is being affected already. We'll reach 1 million by Friday. 1 million chickens.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, Michael. I mean, this is quite disturbing. Of course, the morality and the ethics of killing chickens for a strike is quite. It bothers me quite a bit.
Hmm.
But these people work hard. I mean, they work in a very tough environment, and they're asking for an average salary of $25 an hour. Between you and I, they deserve it. Can we
Hmm.
pay that? No way. No way. Because we would have to charge more for chicken, and I'm not sure Canadians are willing to pay more. So that's
Eh.
why I think we need to have a discussion about robotics, automation. Our reliance on labor has become a problem in Canada, especially in processing and in agriculture.
Fascinating. I mean, it has echoes of what goes on in the restaurant sector, right? With not the automation part, but our consumers willing to pay more so that the people creating, serving, cooking make a better wage, and the entrepreneurs can make money. Like it's not always on the razor's edge.
I know that unions don't want to talk about it, but I think we need to talk about robotics and automation, especially for plants that are remotely located like Saint Anselme with
Yeah.
Excel D'Or, because this, even if the mediator says we're going to increase their salaries by 40% over 3 years and they're going to get $25 an hour, I don't think you're fixing the problem.
Mm.
And
Mm.
other plants will want the same too.
Yeah.
Dairy, I'm thinking about dairy processing and livestock, and you'll face the same problems. And that's why I think we need to think about technologies.